So I'm here with Shea Fontana, who is the writer for DC Superhero Girls, and I'm really excited to interview her. So first of all, thank you for taking a couple minutes to be in.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Okay, so first of all, how did you get involved with DC Superhero Girls?
Well, I had been writing on some other animated series, and one of my scripts was liked by an executive who got put it over at Warner Brothers, and they gave the script to someone else, and it kind of, they were looking for a writer for DC Superhero Girls, and someone brought up my name, and from there the rest is history. So I was involved very early on in the process, and starting with, you know, the character development and getting everything from the vague idea that they wanted to do some superheroes in high school kind of idea into the whole show that we have now.
Were you a big fan of comic books before you started writing for DC Superhero Girls?
I was definitely a fan of comic books, although when I was a kid, I was not into comic books at all. I grew up in a really small town. We didn't have a comic book shop, so I didn't really have any exposure to comic books, but I love the characters from Batman the Animated Series and from Lois and Clark, so I really like the comic book world, but I wasn't specifically into comic books until I was older.
So there's this really amazing corporation called Gina Davis, and they're all about this slogan that if she can see it, she can be it. And they're all about feminism and how underrepresented girls are in movies, behind the camera, in front of it, and all sorts of stuff like that. And your characters are really important because they are kind of showing girls that they can be really amazing superheroes and all sorts of cool things like that.
Thank you so much. That's definitely something that we're trying to do. We want to show girls that they can be the heroes of their own stories. So we have these amazing female superheroes at the forefront. They're the center of our universe, and they are empowering the girls that watch them to, you can be a hero. You can be a hero, you can be whatever you want. You can be a scientist like Ivy, you can be a chemist like Frost, but whatever you want to do, you can go out and do it.
So I think it's really cool that Batgirl's superpower so far is her brains and her smarts, and I think that's really great that you are showing girls that being super smart is a superpower. Are you planning on making other traits that some girls might have into superpowers to empower them that way and make them think that they are superheroes?
Absolutely. When I was a kid, Batgirl was my favorite superhero because of that, because she took what she had a pretty smart brain, and she just made herself smarter. She really got into these books and technology, and she made herself a superhero. So I really love that. And we are showcasing other characters like Harley Quinn. Her superpowers, basically, she's super funny. So those are characteristics that girls everywhere have, and we're all about taking the things that you have already and pursuing those passions to make yourself a superhero.
So one of the things that kind of seems hard to do now is to make girls powerful and strong without making them like boys. How do you take girls and make them super empowered without making them too masculine and making them more feminine?
I think we're just finding the characters, and we're saying that whatever kind of girl you are, you can be a girl who likes dresses. I'm wearing a dress today. You can be a girl who wears pants. Like whatever kind of girl you are, you can be super at being that. So whether you're really feminine, whether you're more of a girl who likes to be out playing in the mud, you can take those characteristics and you can make yourself a superhero from there.
So you have really diverse personalities for these characters. Are you planning on making them more diverse in sexuality and gender identities and body types?
Definitely. We actually, I'm going to preface this with, we haven't focused on any romantic relationships in any of the content, because there are so many things out there that put the only things that girl can do is have a romantic relationship. That's the only reason that they're in a lot of things. They're either the girlfriend or the wife. So we've really stayed away from portraying any romantic relationships, but I will tell you that all of the characters are exactly as they are in the comic books as far as their gender identities and sexuality goes.
So kind of trailing off of that, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are kind of a canon couple in the DC universe. If there's going to be a prom, would they go together, or will there be any other involvement?
You know, we have not gotten into that, but I think that's something that we'll explore in the future.
Nice. So I really, really love that the dolls are based off of female athletes and their body types are that way, so they're not just like super skinny girls that somehow do this kind of stuff. Were you part of that decision, and did you help them make that decision in any way?
As far as the dolls go, everything was taken from things that I had written early on, so it was always really important to us to portray these characters as really strong. And I mean, they're dolls, so they are what they are. There's still, I think, a ways to go as far as making all these different kind of diverse dolls in the body type, but because they're all the same body cast, so you can switch clothes on all of them, which is also fun. But it was very important to us to make sure that these dolls were much stronger. They have muscle definition that you don't see in like the Monster High dolls or Barbie dolls, and we're going to continue making a diverse kind of doll out there for the action dolls as well as the action figures.
So do you hear the way that your voice actors act and use their voice and then write for them because of the way that they act for these characters, or do you make them voice what you wrote?
It's a little bit of both. So I do get to have the pleasure of going to all the recording sessions, and if the voice actor does an emotion wrong that's going to be not play out right in the rest of the series arc, then we have to correct that. And then there are people who bring such fun stuff to their voices that we start imitating them in the writing. So one in particular is Beast Boy, who is also played by the same character, or the same actor who plays him in Teen Titans Go. And he and Beast Boy have merged as one person. It's impossible to tell the Greg Sipes from his character now. And there is one thing specifically, and at one of the recording sessions, he was telling me about, I think it was a thing his band was doing, and to find where this thing was, he told me, I just go to the drum circle and turn left. And I thought that was so hilarious because in my world, I don't visit a lot of drum circles, so it didn't ever occur to me to make the drum circle where you give directions from. So that is in one of the episodes where he tells them just to go to the drum circle and turn left.
Yeah. Do you hear their voices while you're writing now?
Absolutely, yeah. So I really rely on the different voices in my head to make the scripts work.
Yeah. So really quickly, this isn't like on script or anything, but I really love how many, I'm sure your writing passes every single feminism test there is.
Oh, thank you.
It definitely passes the Bechdel test. It passes so many tests, and I just think that's great. Do you keep those in mind while you're writing to kind of make the test, to think about the test and the best way to get on top of them, and maybe do you look at a trope for a female and completely reverse it?
Not usually. I don't really think of it like that because I'm writing from my own life and writing like things that my group of friends do and that kind of thing. And I think my life passes the Bechdel test, so I feel pretty good about that. So it's really, I take a lot of my own experiences and put them in the stories, and I write female characters as like they're just people. So it's not something that's on the forefront of my mind of making them, specifically feminist, but that is something that I value in myself, so I think it just comes out naturally. As far as the taking some of the stereotypes, we definitely look at those kind of things and make sure that we're not writing things that are too stereotypical, especially for some of our diverse characters. So that is very important to us to make sure we're staying away from specific stereotypes.
Do you have any plans for the comic books that you might want to tell us about?
Yes, so I have 2 upcoming graphic novels for DC Superhero Girls. The first one is DC Superhero Girls Finals Crisis, which is all about our main 7 characters. It's the night before finals, and we follow each of them. Each chapter is a different girl's point of view of what they're doing the night before finals, and they're going to get kidnapped by one of the most famous supervillains in all of DC lore, and it's going to be a really fun time. We're actually previewing the first 2 chapters of that graphic novel for free comic book day, so everybody can go out to their local comic book shops and get a copy of that. And then this fall we'll be releasing our second graphic novel, which is called Hits and Myths, which is all about, our girls are starting to learn about the Odyssey in one of their classes at school. Greek indeed, so we get into some of Wonder Woman's Greek mythology, and they have their own Odyssey-inspired adventure.
Yeah, that sounds really, really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is there anywhere else that you might that people can go to find you if they want to learn more about you and DC Superhero Girls.
Absolutely. I am on Twitter at Shea Fontana, that's S-H-E-A, Fontana, F-O-N-T-A-N-A, as well as you can find me at my website, which is shayfontana.com, and DCSuperheroGirls.com has a lot of games and content that you can learn more about our DC superheroes.
Thank you for taking a couple minutes to be interviewed.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun to be here.